Welcome back to New Dexter. Who dis?
Who dis?
We're about to get into Dexter Original Sin, Season 1, Episode 10, Code Blues.
Code Blues, Code Blues.
Yeah, I mean, we're gonna get into it. I mean, I don't really know what to expect, other than to see how this all ties together, right?
I mean, well, he just released the dumbass off the table, so now he's on the loose, and now he's following him. And like we said, where is he going to go? Is he going to go straight to the one place that Dexter thinks he will? I have a feeling, yes, exactly the way he wants to play out, because that's how scripts are written. But
Okay.
He's got a lot of options to go another way.
Michelle and Marsh, we're going to get into it and start this episode. Let's see.
I'm just gonna take a stab at it.
9, 10.
That's
I had everything
too
taken.
fast, guys. The fuck?
My
Like,
mother,
okay.
my brother, my
Alright,
friends.
pause.
You're
Grace.
the only constant.
What the fuck?
Are we recording?
Yes.
Okay. The scene where they're showing Brian, go over his experience and all the homes he's been to and eventually getting to the mental ward. Like, just the little montage of him growing from like 7 to 10 to 16 to 20, like way too fast, guys. I'm sorry. That just, the ages that he's saying on the voiceover and like the actual visual was way too fast for me.
There's a number of the editing I think has been done for sake of, I feel, the editor. There's stuff like that was absolutely pointless. You could have gone from there to the other age. You can just done one transform of like,
Yeah.
and then 10 years later still here. You know what I mean? You're kind of like, oh shit,
Yeah.
the passage of time is still identifiable that way. But it was just another one of those. There's a few things that's happened because the editor wants it to happen. You know what I mean? Like, oh, I can do this effect. That was one of them.
I already, from the last, the whole series really, I already am not loving just like the age of like the child actors, but like this is just really throwing it in my face of like, here's him aging, and like I don't really think that was necessary, because like my imagination can go a certain way, right? When you say from like 7 to 17, I don't need you to fill that in for me visually. I can just, that's all you need to say and we can move on. I don't have to like investigate, but I think that was like a little much for me.
Yeah, I'm trying to think. There's another one in the last episode too that was a really weird effect that I was like, I don't like that at all. And every now and again we've watched a few things where it's like, well, that's a cute little edit for that editor.
Right.
There's a few things in here that the editor believes that they're enhancing the storytelling, and all they're doing is flexing and showing off or whatever.
But really, to like, and you say that, from the editor standpoint, but to me, as just like, I would say a casual viewer, right? I'm just like, you're poking more holes into this for me to dig into, and I don't want to. I just want to like suspend belief and be like, oh yeah, okay, that's 10 years, 20 years difference. Like, I don't want to have to dig into this and visually be like, well, that doesn't really look right. Like, I think they're doing that, unfortunately.
Yeah, I think sometimes when you're an editor who's able to do a lot of cool stuff, you want to figure out ways to use all your knowledge in there, right? I find myself doing stuff like that all the time with stuff where it's like, oh, I just found this effect. How can I use this effect? And it's like, it's the idea of a surgeon always wants to cut and a doctor always wants to pill. You know what I mean? It's like an editor always wants to use their newest trick. You know what I mean? It's you feel like a magician. I know this one, but
you got
so I watch it now and I go like, that was unnecessary, dude. That was just I feel like they have a young editor who's really proud of everything he's learning.
Sometimes I feel like keep the tools in the toolbox. You don't need every tool at every time, right?
Yeah. A hammer always finds a nail, but at the same time, like, you don't gotta whip out every hammer you got, man. Like, sometimes
just calm it down.
The right
calm
one.
Calm it down, man. I just let me let the storytelling do the thing it's supposed to do, right?
Yeah,
like,
it's actually kind of funny. I think about it now. I remember talking to a friend of mine who's a drummer a long time ago, and some of his favorite drummers were not the people I thought would have been his favorite drummers. I was like, oh, your favorites must be like, Neil Peart, who had like the largest set and was always everywhere, right?
Yeah.
And although he had like a ton of respect for all those people and all that, some of his favorites were like people he said that didn't overcrowd the song, that knew the place of the beat. You know what I mean? Like,
knew when to use what.
Yeah, that the kinds of drummers who like honestly would like sit in with a Jason Mraz one night and potentially sit in with like Pantera another night where you don't know the difference because they know where they should be. Where some drummers are just all the time, everything all the time. You know, and this feels a lot like this editor is an all everything all the time. But
yeah, all right. Well, again, I cannot stand the actual like visual switch of Brian from, you know, an adult to a child. In the scene where Harry is threatening Brian, get away from Dexter. He's on the top of the building saying, go, never see him again, whatever. And then we see him holding a gun to Brian, and he changes from an adult to a child because we can't possibly see that that Harry is, you know, fighting this internal, you know, struggle to see him as a child. Like I don't understand why any of that's necessary. Like, it's really making it feel really lifetimey to me when you do that, because you're kind of insulting the viewer. You're saying that like not only insulting me, but like you're insulting the actor. Like, I can believe Christian Slater. Like, he's pretty seasoned, you know? Like, I don't need an actual visual change in front of me. I can see what he's trying to express.
And we're recording. Live mic, hot mic, here we go. That was it. We did it. We watched the show of the season. Woo-wee, Code Blue. What do you think?
That was the finale. I mean, it definitely wrapped up, obviously, you know, we caught the bad guy, right? We got the chief.
Spencer.
We caught Spencer, right? Saved the kid. All good.
Yep.
As a finale, does it really feel like a ending on a pow? Like, did it feel like a finale to you?
I mean, I don't know what you wanted them to go for, just because, I mean, it didn't feel different than the beginning of the show. You know what I mean? Like, it all kind of feels the same, but I wonder how difficult it would be to leave on any sort of cliffhanger, really. Because, I mean, all it really did was set up, this was his first year on the force. He's now no longer an intern. When we come back, we're going to have Deb just coming out of the academy. I mean, like, it really sets up the next season really well.
Okay.
But you're right, there's not like much of a cliffhanger because, unfortunately, the entire story is about Brian, right? And we know what happens to Brian doesn't happen to Brian for 6 more years.
Right.
So, it does make for... I don't even know. Are they going to just do 6 seasons and be done and then say, ta-da, this is the next season is a casting jump? But it didn't leave me with some big pow. It just felt like this was the first chapter of the Dexter story. This never felt like standalone, I think. Where I think other shows feel standalone, right? When you first watch it, they don't know if they're getting a second season. So they have to leave on something that makes people want to talk more, right?
Yeah.
This felt like it was only going to be chapter 1 to begin with, where, I don't know, that mentally I was even in a place that I could have been totally shocked if we saw something else, but all we saw was Brian, and we know he's been lingering, and he's going to forever linger.
Yeah. Yeah. I was a little surprised at how long the scene was with Brian and Harry, honestly, like the one on top of the roof.
Yeah.
Because I saw there was so much dialogue that I was like, I feel like he would have just killed Harry, like, in that moment. But I get it. We gotta leave something for the next few seasons, right? But yeah, I mean, Harry's coming around to the fact that, you know, Dexter's not entirely evil, right? He saves the kid, so there's something there. But I don't know. I don't know how I feel about this. I feel like it's just... it didn't feel like as grand as I feel like other finales are. I just felt like we knew where we were going for the most part. Like, all right, either he's gonna kill this big bad guy or the guy's gonna get away. Like, so I don't know. I don't know how I feel about this one. But I mean, I'm obviously still gonna keep watching, right? I'm interested in where they go, what stories they tell next.
Yeah, I wonder too, are we going to get season 2 of Original Sin before we get season 1 of Resurrection? I don't know when the release dates are, and I didn't look it up yet. But, I mean, whatever comes up next, we're going to watch it, and we're going to review it and all that, for sure. Well, I don't know. For me, I felt like this was a really good way to end season 1 to lead into season 2. The thing that sucks is that you're not getting season 2 next week, right?
Right.
Because it didn't leave you satisfied for a finale because you want more immediately because we know where we're going. And I think that's what the problem is sometimes you watch these big finales and you go, oh my God. Like when they had the pan over to Rita in the tub as the finale, you just went, oh my God. Because that felt like the end.
Right.
Such a big end. And it launched into, I can't wait for next season. But you got the big payoff of this season. There was no payoff in this season because we knew it was Spencer 3 episodes before this.
Yes.
We knew it was Brian 4 episodes before this. So all we did was put a bow on what we already knew. There was no big new development. And all it did was set up for the next season, which to me is fine. I don't have a problem with that.
I do hope in the next season they show a little bit more of Dexter, like, being, I don't know, a bit more, like, physically preparing for what we know he's gonna be, right? Like, him fighting with Spencer was just, as soon as he lost any weapon that he had in his hand, he was like just another scraggly guy. Yeah. So I feel like I hope that they like lean into him. Hey, let's get him into martial arts. Let's get him into boxing. Let's get him into some other like way that he can protect himself, because I don't know. I feel like without some sort of preparation, he's just a kid who happens to have a syringe. Like, he doesn't really have much else. So I wonder if they're going to kind of lean into a bit more of like just how Dexter gets to be as like sharp as he is. Because this was a bit messy, which I know goes into him being his first year.
Yeah, that's what I felt like, is that there's intentional messiness and sloppiness to it because it's him starting. He's not perfected anything at all. My assumption and hunch is that as Deb leaves the academy, she works out with Dex. Like, Dex becomes her training partner, more or less, as kind of a, Deb doesn't know that I would assume what would happen. Deb would not know that she's effectively helping Dexter train to be a more successful serial killer. She would be under the guise that he is just strictly helping her get through everything and being supportive. And then just gets to be good looking at the end of it, I assume, is all she would think he's getting out of it. That's my assumption, is that there's going to be a lot more Dex Deb next season, a lot more answering of certain those questions. I think that's part of the reason why we put Deb in the police academy right away.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But it also makes sense by the time we get to her 6 years in, she's just starting the homicide department, right? She was working narcotics.
She was working Vice.
She was working Vice, but doesn't she become a homicide at the beginning of season 1? Because I think that's how it comes over. Yeah. Because I think we start with her in Vice, and then she goes over to homicide the first season, which, if you're gonna say 6 years later she's a homicide detective, and before that she's Vice, she better have a few years as a beat cop in.
Right. Yeah.
So the idea of straight out of high school, straight into it, that makes sense.
Yeah. And I am interested where they take the Harry LaGuerta relationship, because we ended in this episode where Harry is kind of throwing off LaGuerta's instinct, thinking it's a serial killer, and LaGuerta hears that. And so she walks away being really like, hurt. And so I am wondering like how far they're going to take that. If she's going to confront Harry, if not, where that goes. So yeah, but let us know what you guys think of this finale. And we're going to stay tuned to whatever comes next, right? If it's the other series or if it's just the next season. I have no idea how long we're gonna have to wait for the next iteration.
Yeah, I guess also realistically, if you jump in the comments, if you want us to keep up on that kind of news and report on that too, we could always pop on in between as announcements are made and stuff. That wouldn't be difficult either. But if no one asks for it, then we'll just wait for the next release.
Yeah. I think I was just expecting to feel like at the end of every, I guess, season, I felt like the original Dexter, I felt like a yes, like, oh, we got him, or oh my God, or like some like really sharp emotion, whether it be like, oh my God, we just found out, or what the hell's gonna happen next. I just feel like this was just really calm and just, okay, we're gonna move on to the next story, and that was that.
It did feel reminiscent of the one season that ended with like Harry's birthday party.
Yeah.
The young Harry birthday party. We're just kind of like, it all kind of seemed to be okay this time. And he was like, and maybe this kid's making me a little more human. And it was just kind of a feel-good ending. And the next season picked up with chaos. It did feel a little bit like that's one season. But yeah, you're right. Most seasons end with Rita's dead or fucking...
something.
Yeah.
So, yeah. But, yeah, let us know what you guys thought of this season. This is it.
Yep, this is it. The seasonings.
Thanks for staying tuned with us. Let us know what you think.
Yeah. Come back anytime. Kill us.
Kill us?
Kill us.
Killers. Okay.
Kill
yeah.
us.
Kill us. Okay.
Soft A.
Thanks for listening.